Hey, Apple. You know what Apple just did? Apple just did the equivalent of, hey, let me copy your homework and nobody's going to know. And they're going to be like, they're going to know. No, how will they know? They're going to know. No, they won't. Like, look, it's not going to happen. No one's going to know. That's exactly what Apple did. Hey, how you guys doing? My name is Hero. This is Coding with Strangers. Clap it. I put out a poll on YouTube. Said, hey, did you guys want me to live stream WWDC? And 11 people voted and 8 said no, it's unnecessary. And I appreciate those people for voting. If you're not following me on YouTube, you should. I put up polls like that all the time. I like to get the feedback from, the people. The people. I like to get feedback from the people. See what's going on. But let's just jump into it because you guys are here to hear what my thoughts were on everything. TechCrunch did a great rundown of everything. I'm not covering everything. There was no benchmarks or anything like that. There's a bunch of people on the internet way smarter than me. Go watch their damn videos. I'm here to just give you the shit that I liked. I had someone asking me there was people in one of my videos asking me questions that are on par with quantum physics. And I had to tell that person, stop asking me questions like I'm going to challenge you. I don't know what you're talking about. What I think the computer, I don't know. Apple, I'm not friends with Tim Apple. Stop asking me shit. Pre-Ram, what's up? How you doing? So we'll get into it and we'll cover some things that they talked about. Like they mentioned AI, machine learning, or large language models, or Apple Intelligence 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 53 times. That's me being generous. They definitely probably said it more, but for the hour, that's what they said. They said it for the first time. So we'll go over this. We're not going over everything in detail, and just stand out things and things that I just feel like were a waste of time. But primarily, the one thing I kept a tally on that they said more than anything, a combination of privacy, security, and your data being safe. They said that a combined 73 times. 73 times they said it throughout this whole entire thing. So I'm super interested to see the challenges that Apple might face trying to keep up with this. We'll read the headers. Here's everything Apple announced at WWDC 2024 keynotes, including Apple Intelligence, Siri makeover. So Apple to work with AI partner OpenAI and beyond. This is problematic because there's sort of like this question of OpenAI not being very reliable as far as privacy and data concerns are part of. And even though Apple is claiming that they have their own in-house servers for people to use on their own, if you wanted to ask OpenAI a question, you have to grant it permission and it won't log those transactions. And I'm just trying to figure out, so why would OpenAI allow this to be on the phone? Eventually something is going to change. The terms of service are going to change and they're going to get your data. This is one of the more mindful things, like mindless, self-indulgent things I've ever seen Apple do. I wish they had did more. But that's the general vibe I got from this conference. That is the vibe. I wish they had done more, because essentially what they did, and the same gripes and grievances I had for OpenAI 4.0 and Copilot plus PC, I'll also have for this now. They literally copied the Copilot PC's whole swag. And the thing that's troubling, in the Copilot plus PC demo, they said that their chips, their PCs come specially made with an NPU, a neural processing unit, that will outdo Microsoft's M4, or M3 rather. It was 85% faster than the M3. That's what they said. Now, Apple has this M4, but they didn't give us the benchmarks for it. They didn't tell us, do they have their own separate NPU? If you're using AI stuff on your phone, will that slow down your CPU on the phone? or the M4 chip on there? Or is the M chip built in with it and that's what makes it different than the M3? You know? So many questions as far as benchmarks were not concerned, but this was supposed to be a developer conference. I expected it to be way more boring. They took the opportunity and washed the developer aspect of it and gave us a bunch of product placement. At one point, Tim Cook, I know his name wasn't Tim Apple. I know you guys were writing that in the chat, and if you've already written it and sent it, that's jokes on you. Tim Cook was sitting on a rooftop talking about TV shows coming to Apple's streaming platform, and I saw all of the videos, movies coming out there, and not one of them moved me to even be remotely interested in it. Like, y'all put that man on the roof for that? At one point I wrote down, get that man off the roof. Okay, and Elon Musk couldn't help not being mentioned, not being loved on. Everyone's having a good day. Elon wasn't being mentioned, so guess what? Elon decided to say, if anyone has if Apple decides to integrate with OpenAI, we're not gonna allow that to be put into as a security risk. Sir, shut up. You're a security risk. What are you talking about, Elon? Your whole entire company is a risk. Let me guess, if they said Gronk could be integrated with it, would that be okay? You think of all the security issues out there, you don't think yours is the most liable? Yours is the most forgettable for sure. Gronk is dead in the water. But I guess Elon forgot that he's created his own AI. Oh, and also Apple Car is literally running inside of all of his Teslas. So what Tesla's gonna lose Apple Car? I don't think that's how your contract worked, sir. And I don't think you got the money to buy that shit out. Apple Intelligence, limited availability. Before you get too excited about putting Apple Intelligence to the test, check if your device are new enough. I think it starts at Apple 15. I have an iPhone 13, 13 Pro Max, 12 Pro Max, and an iPhone 5. So if you decide to upgrade, and this is the thing that's kind of weird about this thing, right? You can't opt out of it. If you don't want to have AI on your phone, if you don't want to integrate all these things into it, you can't do it unless you just have an older phone that isn't capable of doing it. So does that mean I have, and to be honest, I'll buy a 14 and pay $300 because that's how much they cost. What are they on now? 18? I don't think there's anything good that's coming from this. And we'll go on. ChatGPT in Siri. Apple is now bringing ChatGPT AI-powered chatbots to the experience, which is great. Here's my first concern. With this whole entire integration thing. Apple Intelligence is an image and emoji playground. Sounds adorable. Sounds cute. Sounds great. This is your mom. Your mom didn't consent to having her picture taken and turned into an AI superhero bot. That was not something she consented to. But here it is. So this is what I was talking about. If I didn't consent to something and someone has my picture on their phone or from my social media, they can now turn me into an emoji and use me as a sticker. Oh, it's not that harmless. Yeah, tell that to Megan Thee Stallion, who had to defend herself all weekend while on tour because someone face swapped her in a porn video. Where are the safeguards for this? That you can just take anyone's image and likeness and cartoonify them now? It's not that serious, but that's how it starts. And I just don't like it that it's something that there was no thought put to it, it seems like. Past, this is going to be great. I don't know anyone who uses emojis or communicates like this in text. At most, you're going to get the 3 laughing or crying emojis. That's it. And if you a special little lady, you're going to get that. You're going to get the eggplant. Yay. Siri is off on my phone. I don't ask Siri for anything. But, okay, so now it can interact with ChatGPT and basis questions on things that it's intuitively expected. But therein lies the problem. This is stuff that I expected it to do already. I was like, so Siri doesn't intuitively know when I asked it a question that the last question I asked it should remember it? That doesn't even sound like AI. That just sounds like hey, you should store these things in the memory until this conversation is over. That's not AI. That's just creating a variable to store information. I don't, man, maybe I do. Do I sound like I'm crazy, guys? The keynote was Apple Intelligence. And this guy right here needs to be an actor. Whatever his name is, the guy has I see why people believe in him and like him, and anything he says probably in a meeting, he could convince some people to run through a brick wall. He's so charismatic. He could riz the pants off of anybody in the room. I mean, he's funny. Full set of hair. He's rocking the jeans. Got a little chest out. The guy is good, and he can parkour. But basically, what we got into, let's actually see if we could glean something from it. Because what I put in here is copy paste. I literally wrote this in my notes. Copy and paste of Copilot plus PC, but apparently weaker because it's using Copilot plus PC is using M3 and it's 85% faster. And they said that M4 is just 50% faster. So give or take a few percentage, Apple's still behind their competitors in this race. And if there was a race to be said, I think it would have to be, and OpenAI has all three of them whooped, right? OpenAI has the inside ear of Apple, is being funded by Microsoft, and literally every single one of anyone's large language model is literally being demolished or getting its tokens from ChatGPT. A lot of people claim that they make their own ChatGPT. All they're really doing is buying tokens to API question ChatGPT and return it back to their website. That's all they're doing. Right? That most importantly, it has to understand you to be grounded in your personal context. That's the creepy part about it. Similar to what Copilot plus PC, where it was going to be taking snapshots of your desktop to learn about you, Apple's intelligence is going to be remembering things about you to store and bring up later. And immediately that set off some red flags in my head because Apple doesn't have the greatest track record when it comes to security. It might be better than most companies, but it's not the best. There's still flaws to be seen here. Apple's password app, which is it was pretty useful. I used to use it and I still use it, so still good. I think the smart pad scripting was all right. It enhances your handwriting. It becomes a lot more useful and a lot more wide. If you're someone who's heavy into iPad, I've never owned an iPad. The only reason why I would ever want to own an iPad is because I want to draw on it. The Wacom makes better drawing tablets that have better usage, I feel like, personally, from an artistic standpoint, and are integrated into other apps more friendly. Adobe, Photoshop, Krita, Comic Zone, and all of those other things. If I had a choice of writing notes or typing them out, I'll be typing them. But this sort of seems redundant because, once again, the Apple AI can hear everything and do everything for you. So you could just tell it to take notes for you. You buying that $40, $50, $130 pen sounds pointless to me. It's been made obsolete by its own system. This is a thing that people went crazy for, and I'm seeing whole entire articles dedicated to it. Calculators for iPad. Now, let's go over a few things here. People have said one thing. Oh, this would be great if I was doing high. Look at these math problems. First, no one in my chat is doing math like this anymore. And if you had to do math like this, let's not pretend. You're doing it with a TI-83. You're that's it. If you're a real one, you feel me? If you're a real one doing math problems, you got the TI-83 on deck. You were never worried about doing math on your iPad, one. So those people are weirdos. Oh, I get to do math on my iPad. You never should have. There's a reason why you haven't had it till now. Because you never needed it. Secondly, then I hear people saying thing that I saw that everyone was so giddy about with this. So giddy about. The kids. Think about the kids. The kids get to use this now. I would have done an amazing job with my homework. You want to know the one thing Apple could have done that could have shut the game down with this, and why it won't work for any kid, and why a TI-83 is still better? Because it doesn't show work. If the teacher turned around and said, "Show me work for that fifth problem," I would have loved to have seen this thing write it out. And maybe it can do that, but it wasn't made apparent to me then and there. So this serves as just a calculator. And if I was going to buy this for a kid to help them with their math homework, I could find something cheaper, and you could play Drug Wars on the TI-83. I don't think you could play that on the iPad. macOS Sequoia, which is one of the weirder names I've ever heard, you can now move apps around on your screen. And you can now if your phone is in the other room, but you want to do something on your phone, but you're on your MacBook, you can do that? Okay. Sounds great. Mirroring. Okay. You lost me. Message via satellites. This is interesting because I'm very curious to know if this causes for end secure encryption. I'd be curious to see how the encryption community feels about that, because I was definitely under the impression that those satellites were being used for emergency purposes only. So if anyone can send text message, so do you not need a cell phone plan anymore? You can make calls over Wi-Fi. And now you're telling me, and you can make texts over Wi-Fi. You can do everything over Wi-Fi. So now you're telling me, even if you don't need to call anybody, because who's picking up the phone anyway? You can now just use the satellite feature and you could text. Is that something that we're saying? Because if this is true, this makes going off the grid a lot more interesting. But the question still remains, how do we make this more efficient? Because I dare I say we return back to the days of 2012 where text messages had to load into your phone. We all remember those, right? No, probably like 2007, 2006. Nokia. Photos app. This one was pretty creepy, but they tried to disguise it with, oh, look, you can organize all of your photos. Just like in the Copilot video, when they said, oh, Copilot plus PC is going to organize all of your photos. What mad person is just dumping their photos on the desktop of their PC and not arranging them, not putting them into folders and correctly labeling them? Same thing with people's phones. Yeah, you have a bunch of people who just take random pictures, and I'm guilty of this. But there's no point at which I would want it to be able to perfectly recall every photo on my phone. Also, that means it has done enough analysis on your phones to understand what pictures you have. We don't need this. I don't need this, because I got some pictures on my phone that ain't supposed to be. I got some pictures on my phone that I treasure dearly. So this is just a little bit too invasive. It's just too much. And once again, there's no opt-out way. It's integrated into the device. So whenever it comes time for them to sell it under your nose without no one knowing, you won't even know how to stop it. It'll be too late. Tap for cash. This is something that's going to cause a lot of fights at dinners, and I can't wait. Because too often did I have to keep people sitting at the table with me until they sent me the Venmo. Oh, it's the signal. It's not working. No, we're going to sit here till it sends. I don't care about what's next on the agenda. We're going to sit here till it sends. But now we got tap for cash. So this is great. This is going to allow me to stick people up real quick, early and often. iOS 18 found nothing interesting about being able to move things, widgets, none of those things. My phone is the older I get, the less use of my apps that I find to be useful. My phone is just a means of connecting to me. And maybe that's the boomer in me, my inner boomer. I'm getting old because I just want my phone to be able to connect me with the people I want to be connected to. And like, I've deleted Facebook off there. I'm thinking about deleting Instagram off there. I've already deleted like my art pages from Instagram because I don't want it to be trained with their information. Vision Pro 2 iOS, you can now do things that you should have been able to do in 0.1, moving things around, more reactive. Once again, anyone who I saw wearing these things, I just assumed that you were okay with being a test subject, so I ain't really care too much about it.
Beta.
Useful AI, not flashy AI. Apple has fallen behind its peers in the AI race and probably feels like it needed to pull out all the stops and impress fans and stakeholders, but that shouldn't mean over promising on features. This is a great point because their stock price didn't move at all today. It dropped actually 1%, and that's because they didn't say anything that warranted an uptick in belief in them. Generative AI, none of these things these things just didn't ring the bell for me. And Apple has had issues with security. The number one thing that everyone is concerned about with AI, and there's a reason why Apple specifically is trying to rebrand AI as Apple Intelligence, because they don't want to be incurred the negativity about AI, which is the security issue. But they've been having issues long before. Back in December 22, an Apple commissioned study shows that threats to consumers' data stored in the cloud have grown dramatically since the last report published in December 2022. So in 2023, 22.6 billion personal records were compromised by data breaches in the past 2 years, underscoring a need for end-to-end encryption. Notice how that should have been the highlight of it. And they talked about privacy, but once again, we didn't see benchmark. And this is their independent study that was done. We don't know what a third party, unbiased, blind or unblinded test looks like. But they made sure to mention that if any AI tools are used on their device, they have to be verified through at least an open source. So Apple, imagine this, has the balls to say, if you want to work, developers, if you want to do shit with AI on our platform, go ahead. You have to make it open source so that we can verify things aren't being logged. But Apple doesn't do that. That's weird. That's weird, right? And it's not enough to get warnings, right? They've been getting fined. Apple is paying out claims for a $500 million iPhone slowdown lawsuit. Did you qualify? So this was back all the way in 2024. They're trying to get this like rushed through so they don't have to pay out as many people as they want to or supposed to. But the question still remains, is Apple's products, if you're not buying the newest ones, so for example, they said you need a 15 and higher, but the 18s, I think the 18 is coming out now. If you're not getting these 18s, will the old M3 chips inside of those 15s be able to keep up with the 18s? I highly doubt it. So are they going to have to do something like this again? Throttle everything else? Because when the 15 came out, there was absolutely I can almost guarantee there was nothing on the radar for them to process an in-house data server that would help run their version pseudo AI on their phone. I absolutely am 110% sure there was nothing like that going down. Those weren't conversations they were having back then. So are we going to see a replication of this lawsuit for the iPhone 15, 16, 17? Ultimately, my thoughts on this are quite simple. This is a FOMO release. They could have done a way better job of talking about their tech stacks, all of the things and maybe they will. This is the first time I've ever seen WWDC, and I have to say I'm not impressed because OpenAI and Copilot plus PC did it first. And to be honest, did it better. Apple is notorious for coming to the party late. All these features, I'm pretty sure, were already on Android phones. All these features are already in OpenAI's hand. Sam Altman was at this event. Great. I have a personal assistant who can do things that I never needed them to do in the first place. I can finally move things on my home screen. Awesome. I hope there's more. And it's not ready to be used today. It's coming out in the fall. So more undercooked, underbaked situations. And I apologize if I sound lackluster, even disinterested, borderline upset that I have to cover this nonsense. But, I mean, I'm a tech show, I guess, right? Clap it. I'm the tech guy now. And I'm not impressed. Let me know what you guys think. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you on the other side. Y'all know about my Patreon?